Yeah, I think if you look at some of the rushing attempts and yards, there was a lot of hidden yards that I think we missed, whether it be in blocking, assignment, missed cuts, some of those things that I know those guys want back, and they see those, and that's the beauty of a game like that you win. You feel good about the win, but there's a lot of things that are correctable and that you can fix. And our guys are conscientious and want to get those things fixed, and we should have had a lot more rushing yards than we probably ended up with, and those guys see that and they'll fix that stuff.
What did you think of the operation, how getting the plays called, guys knowing the terminology, get to the right spot? How did that go?
Perfect. I mean, not perfect. Solid in terms of there was no issues really from the sideline communication. We had one issue that Will called the wrong play. We were trying to get a timeout, but it was on the first sound, and Luke hears Will trying to fix the formation, snaps the ball. We end up kicking a field goal on that drive, and we luckily got it back. So that was the one that really got us, I think. That was really the one hiccup that we had in terms of the operation piece. But other than that, I thought it was pretty clean.
You went up against Steve Wilkes a few times, divisional opponents. So what do you just recall from those matchups and how his team played?
Aggressive, ton of man coverage. They had some really good players, Buda Baker, Patrick Peterson. They had some guys that could really play in the secondary, that can play man coverage and fly around. They want to get their safeties in the box. They want to try to stop the run and challenge you on the perimeter to throw the football and challenge you to win one-on-one matchups. And that's something that we have to try to defeat. I mean, that's a big challenge for us on the perimeter at the quarterback position. What his defense does is it creates tight window throws because he plays so much man coverage. All that is, it's constant tight window throws where when you typically play against more zone-oriented defenses, there's a little bit more voids.
I know it was only one game, but was there anything in there that was different from the NFL to college jump?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, it looked very similar from what he was in Arizona and then what he was when we played them in 2019 at Cleveland with, he threw some wrinkles at us, in Cleveland in 2019 that we'll be ready for, that we have a preparation for as well.
I know Sean was one of those recollection guys. Are you one of those that can go back to that game and remember play, scheme, stuff like that? Does your brain work like that?
Similar. I mean, he's a freak. Sean's a total freak. But yeah, I mean, I try to pride myself on, remembering similar concepts, things that we did it or didn't have success against, maybe that scheme. And, Coach Wilkes did a phenomenal job against us in 2019 when he was with the Browns and played some 6-1, played some different looks that the Patriots had given us in the Super Bowl that past year in 18. And that was something that we need to prepare for as well.
I was going to ask you about that game in Cleveland. You guys had 3 at the half. Obviously had to make some adjustments.
Yeah.
Is that something you anticipate will be big?
I do. I mean, I think they've got to have some things ready for us, right? They've had a lot of time to prepare, as have we for them. And I got to believe that they're going to be ready to go and have some things that were probably unscouted looks that we need to be ready for and be ready to adjust. Similar to this past game in a lot of ways where we had an idea what they were going to do, but we needed to prepare for some unscouted looks and have some adjustments ready to go. And, speaking of like the post to Ali, that was not in our game plan. That came from up top, from the guys up top that saw something from the previous drive when we threw the deep curl to Ali, and that came from up top. We didn't have that play in the game plan, and our guys went out and executed at a high level.
What do you see when you look at the film from Missouri this past weekend? What made them so able to put so much pressure that they 9 sacks?
They're good up front, man. They got some long, athletic kids up front that can really rush the passer, and they're so aggressive in their man coverage that when the running back blocks in protection, they add their backers on because they're covering them in man coverage. They what we call green dog the back, and that allows for what you would think would be a 4-man pressure or 4-man rush instantly becomes 5 or 6 when the linebackers see the backs block. And so that's something that we need to really be ready for, and that's a challenge in itself that presents us.
You mentioned on Saturday how encouraging it was to see Isaiah make those catches in the second half.
Yeah.
You obviously had the injury thing before you got here, but how have you seen him progress since the spring?
Big time. I mean, Isaiah really in the spring was very limited in terms of what he was able to do on the field. we were trying to get him to this point, and we're still continuing to try to do that. But he was very limited in terms of like one practice on, one off, a period on, a period off. So I really didn't get a lot to see of him at that time. And you know, he's just a steady, consistent guy that I really love working with. Super conscientious, and we're just trying to continue to build his confidence. And he did it on his own on Saturday.
Ian, this is the first time you've had these guys after a game, had them in a room looking at film after a game. Did they respond the way you wanted them to? I mean, as far as their attitude, do they want more, or are they satisfied?
No Saturday. I mean, Coach Stoops got those guys in the locker room after the game, and it wasn't like everybody was cheering and going nuts like we just won this. You know, that was an expectation, and I think that's the way that our guys approached it. They were happy that we won. It's always good to get a W, but I know that our players expected to do some of the things that we did, and that's not a knock on ULM. That's just our standard, and I think that. The guys watched the film. They, you know, I heard Chris Rodriguez say, he goes, "Man, I thought I played really well on Saturday," and he's like, you know, but that's what we want. We want the guys to think that they played great, see the film. There's so much more out there for them, and now how can we take that to get better?
Did Saturday give you any indication of how much you're able to pour on these guys? Are they able to pick this stuff up, or are you thinking more?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely more. You know, I mean, we didn't really challenge probably our guys as much with a ton of different calls in the game. You know, I mean, it was a lot of things that we had repped in the scrimmages and had executed and knew, because our philosophy going into the game was, let's do what we do. Let's do what we know, things that we were successful with all throughout scrimmages and training camp, and go out and execute it. Now this is really about, hey, we got a true game to scout Missouri on. We need to do things that are more specific to our opponent.
How excited are you about that? When you came here, you said coaching in the SEC was one of the reasons.
Yeah.
So what's going through your mind?
Very much so, and especially to coach against Steve Wilkes. You know, a guy that's been in the profession in the NFL for so long. A ton of respect for him and what he does on defense, and the way those guys fly around and play. Those guys play their tails off in Missouri and on defense, and they just fly around, do some really good things. And I'm excited to get out into a real SEC atmosphere and see what it's all about.
Well, I think they had 9 sacks, something in that one. Is there a guy that you really have to be aware of at all times?
18.
Where he's lining up? Or is it more of a team effort?
Yeah, number 18, the one DN there. Jeff Cote, is it Jeff Cote, I believe? He's a talented kid, man. You know, he's a talented kid, long, athletic, you know, can really rush the passer. And that's something that they do a nice job mixing in some pressures with their 4-man rushes and the green dogs, as I mentioned before. But they do some good things that challenge you up front, and they're also talented.
You quarterbacks did get hit a few times on Saturday. Just how do you evaluate pass pro?
Yeah, it was pretty solid. I mean, we got hit, I count like 3 or 4 times, you know, and Bo got smashed by his own roommate on the one throw that he had, and we had a couple of hits, but honestly, the protection was really clean, especially in our play pass game. I mean, there was pockets that, you know, I could throw from.
Are you staying on the field on Saturday?
Yeah, hands down. Yeah, hands down.